First of all, take a paper and put the roll down the paper. Make a straight line and draw one shorter leaf on top with zigzaggy edges, then another longer one beneath it with zigzaggy edges too, and a third, even longer one beneath them all. Now let's cut them out. These are going to be used as a model. We're not going to be using these as a final one, so don't worry too much to make it perfect. Leave a square of paper, as you see I'm doing, in the end, because that will be used for gluing it onto the tree. If you don't leave a square that size of paper, you won't be able to glue it. Check to see that it's the right size. If you want to make one a bit longer or shorter, you can chop it now or lengthen it. I think I'm going to add another one. This is going to be the longest one in the bottom. Some paper rolls are shorter, some paper rolls are longer. So if you have a very short one, like don't take a toilet paper roll, but if you have a very short roll, which is a bit shorter than this, and you can't have 4 leaves, just make 3. But if you have a longer roll, you can always make more. Make sure that the last one just about touches the floor. It shouldn't be too low or to get crushed, wrinkled. So now take a pencil and draw the outlines of the leaves. We'll be needing quite a few of them. At least 4 of each, but usually more. The more the better the tree will look. You can start by making 2 of each or 3 of each and cutting them out and then adding more leaves as you go along. I'm sorry you can't see my leaves, but it's the camera's fault, I think. There. Now make the little zigzags in the bottom that are like the leaf parts, and leave again that square in the back for gluing. And cut it out. I'm racing it ahead a bit, so you don't have to wait and watch every leaf being cut out. And you don't have to worry to make them all exactly the same, because if they're different, they'll look more real. You can make a few a little bit shorter or a little bit longer. It doesn't matter. Just as long as the longer ones in the bottom and the shorter ones are in the top, it will look good. Now erase the pencil lines, because they'll look ugly otherwise sticking out there. It's good if you use a soft pencil, not a hard one that makes an indent, but a very light soft one. And don't use a pen, because that's like marks it, unless you're going to be cutting out all the lines completely. I find that making the edges not too sharp and yet not too rounded looks rather nice. You can, however, practice making them rounded more or sharper more. And if you make some more rounded tips and some sharper ones for different trees, they'll also look a bit different and it will look nice. Okay, now let's glue it. You hold the leaf up and glue it all over that square bit that we left over for gluing. I'm using a silicone glue. It's really dries really fast and it glues really strong. It glues almost every material, every kind of fabric, plastic too. Although I haven't tried too much plastic with it. Cardboard, paper and stuff like that. You can use any other glue you like. Just I recommend silicone glues because they glue fast. You don't have to wait a few days for them to dry and they hold on really tight too. And if you get them on your fingers, it's no problem. You can just peel it off or wash your hands. So hold it there for a little bit and press it down. Or you can put clothes pegs there to keep it down and in place, as they tend to go slipping around if you don't hold them. Press it down in every part, and with your nail you can even, like I'm doing, scrape over it a bit to make sure that it's tight and the tree not lifting up in a corner. So now let's paint a tree. We use a little bit of yellow, the double amount of red as yellow, and half the amount of blue as yellow. So like blue, double yellow, and double red. That's what works for me with my paints, but if you have different paints, it might be different. If you're using watercolors, you might have to do many layers for them to get the same vibrance as acrylic paints. So paint between the leaves, everywhere on the bark and on the green parts, not on the leaves that are sticking out, just on the green parts that we used for gluing it over, and on the brown cardboard roll. Be careful to keep your other hand that is holding it free of paint, because it could stain it. I had a tree once that I got some paint onto by mistake from my other hand, and it was like all ruined. And also be careful to paint between the leaves, but not on the leaves. You might need a smaller brush or a bigger brush. Paint right there in the corners. Cover every part of the bark till it looks like a real tree. You can have some highlights of darker lines or lighter lines in it. And here it is, finished tree. Thank you for watching, and subscribe for more arts and crafts tutorials below. Thanks. Bye.